I'll start with a quick introduction and then we'll dive into the presentation. Hi, I'm Reema. I'm from the International Outreach team at Westcliff. I also have Izzy with me, who's also joining from the team. This is our campus. We have our main campus, which is in Irvine, California. I always say this is not an AI generated image. It really looks like that. So feel free to check it out as we go forward. I'll show you more about the campus and we'll talk about, the offerings that we have at the university. And feel free to drop in any questions that you might have in the chat and we'll attend to them at the end of the presentation. Okay. So our main campuses, like I said, Irvine is our main campus. We have additional campuses in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Miami, Orlando, as well as Dallas. We are accredited with WASC, SHIA, as well as ACBSP. So these are our regional as well as global accreditations. Um, a couple of facts about Westcliff University. So 7,200 students currently enrolled as of spring 2025. A very diverse population of students, so 103 different nationalities. 10 is to 1 student faculty ratios, smaller class sizes. So you what that does is it kind of gives you a lot more access to your professors, to your peers, and all of that. In terms of our top programs, MBA has been ranked number 2 in SoCal after UCLA. So definitely our MBA program is one of our top programs. 94% of our students are very satisfied with the education as well as the models at Westcliff University. And then 89% of them get job placements after graduations. So these are a couple of stats about Westcliff University as of 2025. In terms of our Irvine campus, we have all of these programs that are offered. So you can see on the left, we have BBA, BSIT, MBA, MSIT, lots of programs that are available in the main campus. I'm going to show you a quick video so that you have an idea of what really the campus looks like. So this is our main campus, which is in Irvine. And then we also have our satellite campuses, like I was mentioning earlier. So we have our other campuses in Santa Monica, San Francisco, Dallas, Orlando, as well as in Miami. Now, all of these campuses have certain specific programs available. So if you are looking for a specific program in a specific city, please feel free to kind of choose it based on what programs are available. There are 3 main formats how we basically conduct our classes. So basically, we have the professional format, which is most of our active F1 students actually prefer our professional format. What this means is that this is an asynchronous schedule, which means that we have 1 weekend residency every semester. So students only come to class once every semester for a weekend. So like Friday, Saturday, Sunday is when they come in for like intensive classes, and everything else apart from that happens online. So this is a very flexible in terms of the work that you're doing. It's really helpful in terms of like having a schedule which kind of goes hand in hand with where you probably would be kind of working, etc. Now, our on-campus weekly is where basically we have classes on a weekly basis, 3 hours every week. And this is largely all of our campus, Irvine campus has all of the programs available in the weekly format. Okay. And then in terms of classwork, we have discussion questions, which is having the initial post by Thursday. And there's a peer response that students need to put in by Sunday. And there are multiple projects and papers that will happen through your semester, and largely you have to kind of submit those papers on a Sunday. Those deadlines will be given to you, but that's largely what the class load will look like, whether you do a professional format or you do an online weekly format. Okay. Now, for the master's and the doctorate program, we have four colleges, which is College of Business, Technology, Engineering, Education, and then the College of Law. Everything that you see in yellow is the main degree, and everything that you see in white are the concentration. All the things that are denoted with S in green are the main STEM courses. Okay. Now, a lot of our international students, especially active F1 students, of course, choose the STEM programs. I would say in the MBA category, the newest one, which is Applied AI in Business, it's one of our top programs currently. And then in the DBA program, we have the Applied Computer Science as well as the IT Management that's doing really well. So those are our top programs, I would say, under the master's and the doctorate program. But yeah, feel free to kind of scan through all of these depending on what you're really kind of looking to pursue. Okay. Now, in terms of how to go about the application process, pretty simple. Make sure that you're applying through Carnegie. They are our partners, and I would say that reach out to them if you're looking to make an application. That will give you an application fee waiver if you apply through them, and also you won't have to pay any like additional I-20 fees, which students usually have to pay. So it's always preferable that you go through the educational partners. So feel free to reach out to the team, and they'll be happy to kind of help you with the next set of steps. Okay. Now, for transcripts for undergraduate, we have a 2.0 GPA requirement, and then for graduates, we have a 2.5 GPA requirement. We do accept multiple English proficiency exams. So at the bottom of the screen, you'll see the scores for TOEFL, IELTS, and Duolingo. However, we have a lot of English exams we accept. So the team will share this presentation with you and these links. You can see that there are a lot of other exams that we accept as well. And if you've already studied in the US, then you probably, and if you have the right degree, you'll probably not even need an English proficiency exam. So depending on where you studied and what really has been your background, feel free to reach out to the team and they can assist you further on what really the documents would be in terms of English proficiency. Okay. We don't require GRE, GMAT, or SAT scores. So again, very, very helpful because this does take a lot of time when students are coming to do their masters. So you don't need to kind of worry about that either. We do have a detailed checklist of all the documents that will be required as well as the deadlines. All of this is mentioned in this particular document. And again, feel free to reach out to the team and they can share these documents with you, which will capture all of the details. Okay. Now, for tuition fees, we have the bachelor's program, which is basically you need to take 24 credits per year. And you can do that for 18,408. This is for the incoming F1 on-campus fees and the active F1 as well. For master's, you need to take at least 18 credits per semester, so per year. And the fees for that is at 14,742. And in the doctorate program, you need to take up to 18 credits and the pricing is at 16,326. Okay. If you are wanting to do any of these programs live online from your home country, they are available at the pricing listed here. Okay. Now, for housing, living, transportation expenses in California, roughly the price comes to about 20,000 per year. And then you can pay your tuition fees either semester wise or monthly payment plans. Okay. So it really kind of breaks down your payment into much smaller segments and it makes it much easier for you to make those payments. Now, if you do decide to do like multiple classes, so if you want to say, for example, complete your master's in less than 1 year, you are able to do that by taking more classes. You can take something called as the accelerated program where you can add more courses into the current credit that you're already doing, and that will help you kind of finish your master's faster. Okay, so if you want to do that, feel free to reach out again to the team and they will be happy to assist you with more details. Okay. Now, for scholarships and grants, we have scholarships available for students up to $10,000 per year. Okay, so how will you apply? You'll simply click on this link. Once you are on this link, you'll see that you need a minimum qualification of GPA. Roughly that ranges between like 3 to 3.5 GPA. And then you can draft an essay, which is as per this prompt, which is stated here. What is your specific plan for success in pursuing this degree at Westcliff University? Once you've written this draft essay, you should attach your additional documents like recommendation letters, any kind of awards that you won, even if it's from your home country. Please attach those additional documents and then complete the application. Keep in mind that this application is a completely different application than the one you will do for your admissions. Okay. Now, there are specific deadlines, so make sure that you're looking at the important dates while you are applying for your scholarships. But a lot of scholarships are available for you to choose from. So, navigating back to the same page, you will see that you can do multiple scholarships. So, if you think the civil servant scholarship is eligible for you, or if you think that the doctorate scholarship is eligible for you, you should go ahead and kind of navigate this page, and whatever feels that resonates with you the highest, feel free to kind of apply to that. Okay. The highest one, which is at 10,000, is the David McKinney Memorial Scholarship. You can apply for our scholarships multiple times. So, like, for example, you already enrolled, and if you say, for example, didn't win a scholarship in your first try, you can go ahead and apply for those scholarships again while you are enrolled in the program as well. Okay. All of these scholarships are awarded 3 times per year. So you can apply for scholarship multiple times. Just keep that in mind. And go ahead and make that application for the scholarship. Okay. Now, for enrollments, we have 6 start dates. We pretty much have an enrollment every alternate month. The next deadline that is coming up is going to be for fall 2. That basically is going to be for September 15th, being the application deadline. So deadlines for F1 students living in the US is much lesser. So in the sense that there's a lot more flexibility. So if you urgently need kind of like a change of status or any kind of transfer and all of those other categories, feel free to reach out, and we're pretty flexible. We'll be happy to kind of assist you in, getting your I-20 and then getting enrolled in the program. Okay. Now, for CPT and OPT, this is an interesting fact about Westcliff University. So, CPT is curricular practical training, which means that students are actually able to work while they are studying. CPT is eligible for students either part-time or full-time. However, it's recommended that you do your CPT for or lesser than 1 year. You don't exceed that 1 year if you want to be eligible for your OPT. For bachelor's, master's, and doctorate students, you are eligible to do CPT on day one. And for undergraduate students, you must complete the first academic year, and after that, you are able to do your CPT. Okay. Registering into one additional credit course each semester is a requirement for CPT. So keep that in mind, that every time you are enrolling yourself into a work-related program, you will have to do one additional course. This is pretty lenient. It's, I would say it's an online thing. You don't really have classes for this, so it's pretty easy to kind of add into your already, into your current curriculum. Okay. And then in terms of OPT, which is optional practical training, students are usually eligible for OPT 1 year after they graduate. So you get 1 year of OPT after your graduation. And then if you have a STEM concentration, you get additional 2 years. So you get a total of 3 years of work permit after you've completed your graduation. Okay. OPT can be taken once per degree level, either part-time or full-time. Okay. Now, for internship requirements for all graduate students, I mean, it's always beneficial that you do some kind of an internship under CPT. This really helps in terms of, getting more experience, applying your knowledge in the relevant field that you're working at, and just getting like practical training and real life experiences while you're on the job. And it also helps you in like networking, getting like more career advancements and opportunities while you're on the job. So we highly recommend that, while you're studying, if you want to look at, finding the right kind of CPT options, please feel free to do that as well. Okay. Now, if you are looking for support in terms of finding the right kind of jobs, we have the career services team. Now, this team gives you one-on-one guidance on your resume, on your LinkedIn. They have multiple workshops and career fairs that happen through the year. They also have something called as Mitra's AI, which is like a specific AI model, and that kind of helps you build your resume based on, the job that is listed, as well as, the resume that you currently have. You also have interview preparation that you can do with the career services team. So feel free to kind of reach out to them, and they'll be happy to kind of, support you further once you're enrolled in the program. We do have 66 partnerships for CPT and OPT. So companies like Siemens, California Bank, Techos, Angel, Sony, etc. are some of the names for our partnerships. They say that an average salary for a graduate student should be in the range of 87,500, and then roughly the potential goes to about 130,000. 30% of our students do utilize Westcliff University Career Services team to actually find the right kind of internships. So I would highly recommend checking it out. And then 88% of them get job placements after graduation. Okay. Now, in terms of the CPT application, it's pretty simple. You will simply click on this link and you will make the application. This is a form where it will ask you a couple of details, so you can go ahead and fill those in. In terms of errors and delays in process, so they say that you should try and double check your application, obviously, as much as possible when you're submitting anything to USCIS. The most common errors that students would face is probably like an application was, let's say, incomplete. They had an incomplete company address that they added in, or they even probably put in like a wrong form instead of doing like a change in CPT instead of a new CPT application. So just reach out to your international advisor if you need further clarity in terms of really what the steps look like for CPT. Okay. Now, what really is the employer's role in CPT, right? So, in order to actually get a CPT approved, you will need to have a work permit, right? So you need to have like an offer letter in hand from your employer that clearly states that this is going to be a position at the company, this is going to be a role. And once the employer has all like the required details from you, there is a letter that the employer will basically give you. And then once you have that, you will sign that along with the cooperative agreement, which Westcliff will provide you. And it's like a one pager, so it's not anything complicated. You will have that signed by your employer and you will have it submitted to the International Affairs team. Okay. It takes about 7 to 10 business days for processing the CPT. And once it's processed, you have it ongoing for a year. So it really, unless of course you change an employer, but you have CPT for a whole year once you've made the application. Okay. Be mindful that these individuals are students first, and you should not miss class. So the main purpose is to make sure that you're balancing your work as well as your education at the same time, and that's what really CPT is doing. It's giving you additional training while you are studying. Okay. Now, how CPT approvals usually happen, CPT is approved for up to 12 months at a time. You don't require to, have any specific documents for volunteering or positions that are on campus and part-time. CPT can be approved by, either single employer, which is either part-time or full-time. You can also do two part-time employers, and you can also do one full-time employer and one part-time employer. Now, this is really interesting because you can do multiple jobs on CPT. They just say that you have to be able to manage it and don't exceed the number of hours, because then it kind of affects your OPT. As long as you have all of those checks in mind, you should be fine. In terms of part-time, what part-time really is 20 hours per week or less is considered as part-time. And full-time is anything about 21 hours per week up to 40 hours, they say usually is the full-time CPT. So anything exceeding 21 hours becomes a full-time CPT. Okay. Now, in terms of what really the process looks like for active F1 students, the first step is going to be making the application through the partners. So make sure that you're going through Carnegie and you're making the application through the team. An admission advisor will get attached to you. So there will be a human that will be attached to every student in every application. A lot of schools now only have AIs. I feel like this is an extra plus for us, where we have a human that will be attached to you. They'll be happy to kind of help you in case you need any kind of, assistance while you're making the application. Once you've done that, you will be able to access your application on a portal. You will get a sign in and a login, and you'll be able to actually access your application as well. Okay. Once you've done that and you've uploaded all the correct documents, it will go into the admissions bucket. In the admissions bucket, students will be required to make sure that all of the documents are completely completed. And if they need to kind of attend like an advisory session with their advisor, they can do that. Once that is all done, you will receive an acceptance letter. Okay. An acceptance letter will then kind of put you in the next bucket, which is the I-20 bucket, where the student must complete the I-20 request form, upload additional documents like bank statements, sponsor documents, dependent documents, and you will then receive an I-20. The digital I-20, like I said, will be free of cost as long as you apply through the team. Once you've received that I-20 and you've kind of updated all of your bank statements and all of the other documents, you can then start your service transfer. Okay. Refer to your previous institution in terms of your service transfer. This is very important. You need to reach out to your previous school, make sure that they are aligned with the change that you're going through, and make sure that you're applying for your service transfer in time. Okay. So service records usually take about a week to transfer. We would recommend that you start the process at least a week prior to the start date of your enrollment. Okay. Once you've done that, you will then go into the enrollment bucket where you will do all the registration forms, you will do the tuition deposit, you will register for CPT if that's relevant to you, and you'll communicate with the student service advisor for your class schedules and your academic counseling. This is the final stage. Once you are in the registration phase, you will then attend the NSO, which happens like 2 weeks prior to the start date. This is where they will tell you details in terms of what time you have your classes, what are the kind of subjects you're going to be doing for the 2 years that you're going to be spending at Westcliff. It will give you all the details and all the planning that you will need for your classes. Okay. Make sure that you're applying through the consultant only. Do not apply through the website, because if you go through the website, then you will have to pay the $50. You will have to pay the $200 for your I-20. So make sure that you're going through the consultant and making the application. Okay. Now, a quick recap. Why choose Westcliff? Number one, affordable tuition. So payment plans are available, multiple scholarships are available. We have attractive locations, which is we have multiple campuses. We also have Irvine as the safest city in America. So I would highly recommend checking out Irvine as a campus as well. In terms of work opportunities, we have CPT as well as OPT available up to 36 months. So if you have a STEM program, you will get up to 36 months of OPT time, which is really helpful. And then we have flexible schedules, 6 start dates, accelerated programs. If you want to complete your program much sooner, you can do that. We have the on-campus as well as the professional format, which is available. And then you don't require GRE, GMAT, or SAT scores for your application. And this is going to be our email. So feel free to send an email to the team if you have any additional questions, and we'd be happy to assist you further.
Yeah,
And that
thank you
brings me
so
to the
much.
end of the presentation.
Yeah, thank you. That's so detailed and so professional and very clear. Thank you, Reema. Right now, now that we have all the basic information of Westcliff University, thanks to Reema's presentation, I actually have collected some frequently asked questions by our students. So if we can take some time to answer that, that'll be great. Both Reema and Izzy, both of you can jump in the question whenever you feel like it. And for the participants in this meeting, you can also feel free to post your questions in the chat box, and we'll get to that after we go through the frequently asked questions. Okay, perfect. And by the way, my name's Rachel. I'm the consultant at CISI. So if you would like to know more about the Westcliff University after this session, you can also contact us or go to our website. We have a lot of information about Westcliff University as well. And the presentation and recording will be sent to everyone after the session today. Okay, so yeah, we have a lot of questions. First, we would like to start with admissions related questions. Um, so first question we have is, what are the minimum admission requirements at Westcliff University, including like details like GPA, language proficiency, and academic qualifications?
Yeah, great question. So in terms of GPA for our undergraduate, we need a 2.0 GPA, and for graduate and postgraduate, we need a GPA of 2.5. We accept multiple English proficiency exams, so I'm happy to kind of share that link with you in the chat as well. And in terms of like, you don't require GRE, GMAT, or even SAT scores, you're able to apply even through an MOI. So if you have a medium of instruction that states that you've studied in an English medium school, that is accepted as well. And I believe a lot of students joining today are active F1. So if you have studied in a university, which is, you studied in English, as long as you have proof to, state that, that is, MOIs are also accepted. So that's largely what the requirements look like. And then I've kind of added a couple of links and resources for the team to kind of navigate through if needed.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. That's very useful. And the next question we have is, what are the transcript requirements for international applicants? Are original documents or stamped copies required?
Great question. So, step one, while you're making the application, you should only apply through the unofficial transcripts. You don't need official transcripts for step one. Once you've received your enrollment, that is when you will be required to submit the official transcripts. Okay. Now, just a little bit about the difference between unofficial and official, right? So, unofficial is when you basically pass from your school, they'll give you a transcript as is. When you ask them specifically for official transcripts, they will have it sealed in an envelope. Okay. Now, you will need to submit the official transcripts once you've done your enrollment process, and that can be submitted once you either come to the school or you can even have it emailed to the registrar. So it's very simple. You will have your school send the email directly to the registrar, and you will be able to, complete your entire enrollment process.
That is very clear. Thank you, Reema.
Mhm.
Um, we do have a lot of international applicants who are maybe thinking about bringing their original copies sealed. The third question we have for admissions is, after submitting the application, how long does it usually take to receive an admission decision?
So it typically takes about 1 to 2 weeks after we've received all the documents. We're pretty fast with our processing, and like I said, there's a human admissions advisor that gets attached. So at any point, if you feel you don't have answers, or if you feel like there's a delay, feel free to reach out to them. Our application portal is very self-sufficient, so you will be able to actually track your application. You're able to see if there are any missing documents or anything additional points are required as well. So use the portal, and I would say always, stay in touch with your educational partner. They'll also be able to kind of assist you with the application journey while you're, waiting for a decision.
Yeah, that's great. It's great that Westcliff provides a like an application mentor for the process, because it is sometimes a very hard process for some students. And next question is, what would you say are the common reasons for application rejection?
This is a mixed bag, but I think the
Mm.
number one would be to kind of submit an incomplete application.
Mm.
So just make sure that you're, applying with all the relevant documents in the right buckets, because it is also going into a portal. Make sure that you're attaching the documents where they're correctly needed. Make sure you have the basic GPA. In case you don't have the, right GPA, please reach out again to us, and, we could do an appeal. But we recommend that you at least, check your basic GPA and then make the application. The other problem I see is like sometimes English proficiency. So make sure that you've attached either your MOIs, or you've attached your TOEFL, IELTS if that's required for you in terms of your English proficiency documents. Yeah, so these are, I would say, the main reasons why it gets rejected. Like if you don't, if you apply with like incomplete documents, or you have any fraudulent documents that you submit. Sometimes bank statements are fraudulent. So just make sure that you're applying with like the current documentation, and you're completing your application and putting in the right information in the right fields. And as long as you do that and you're checking your application, I think you should be good to go.
Yeah, perfect. So, and also the application portal will be very clear where to submit everything.
Yes,
So
absolutely,
check
Rachel.
on
Yes,
that.
thank you.
Yes. And what would you say, how large is the international student population at Westcliff University? We were very curious about that.
That's a really nice one, because we have like over 100 nationalities
Mhm.
at the university, so lots of different students, from different parts of the world. So it's really nice to kind of see that almost 70% of our population, I would say, is international students. So we're very international friendly in terms of, you'll see the diversity on floor as you enroll in.
Yeah, that's great. And the locations are very, very convenient. I feel like every Westcliff University location has a great side to it, whether it's like for great for jobs or sightseeing or living long term. Anyways, the next question and the last question for the admissions related questions is, are there any specific intake periods or application deadlines for the day one CPT programs? And what would be the general deadline for, I know you've said it before, but it would be great if you could reiterate it.
Yeah, so we have like a detailed calendar, which I highly recommend students to kind of look at. So I can put it in the chat for you. This calendar will basically give you an idea, and I can share my screen quickly and show you because this is important for a lot of our active F1 students, right? The main parameter for us is to kind of figure out like what really the CPT deadlines look like and what really the requirements are. So I've added this to the chat, but this calendar will give you like an overview on really what the deadlines look like and like what if you have any specific FAQs, you can, navigate through and see what those questions might look like. And you can also kind of check on this particular schedule, what is the deadline for, let's say, the spring semester, the summer semester, whatever date you're looking to kind of get will be available on this particular calendar. So feel free to, navigate this calendar and see if anything else is required or any other details are needed.
Yeah, that looks great. It's very clear. We definitely need to share that with our students.
Mhm.
Uh, and next, we have tuition and fees related questions. And let me know, Izzy, if you want to jump in anytime. I don't want to just talk through you if you ever want to jump in for a question.
Yeah,
So,
Izzy can take the next one.
okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, perfect. Hi, Izzy. Um,
Hello.
First question I have for you is the CPT related fee included in the tuition? If not, what is the specific cost?
Yes, so for the CPT, once you enroll in that, it is basically an additional course that you have to enroll. So it's basically a one extra credit course that you enroll in. And you have to submit assignments for that CPT course as well. So it just it's added as like an additional credit hour.
Okay, perfect. So just another credit hour fee.
Correct, yes.
Perfect. Okay. And the second question we have is, besides tuition, are there any other additional mandatory fees? If so, what are they and how much do they cost?
Sure. Yes, there are a few additional fees. So there's obviously the I-20 processing fee that you have to pay once you're submitting your I-20 request form. That fee is $200. The enrollment deposit fee, that is $1,000, which is also 100% refundable, just to secure your admission. So once you're submitting your application, you get your admit letter. You have to submit the $1,000 deposit fee. And then you can file for your visa as well. In case you don't get a visa approved, you can get that $1,000 back. We have the registration fee, which is $25. We have a registration deferral fee in case you want to defer the admission. That's $100 plus the deposit. We have a student ID fee that's just $10, an enrollment fee, which is $200, and then a technology resources fee, which is $150 per semester.
Oh, very, very clear. Thank you. And
Of
also,
course.
if there are any students listening to this, we can also waive usually there will be a $50 admission fee, but if you apply with the CISIS link, it will be automatically waived. So make sure you check that link in our website.
Right. Make
Also to
sure that you
add to
don't.
that, Rachel, sorry.
Yes.
Also to add to that, the $200 is also going to be waived if you apply through CISI. So just keep that in mind that students who are applying through you will automatically get $250 waived off from all of the fees. All the other fees are pretty marginal, like between 100 to 200. It's only the enrollment deposit, which is $1,000, which also gets adjusted in your fees once you enroll. So it's not really like literally till the enrollment, you're practically not paying anything. So it's really, easy in terms of the processing.
Yeah, thank you so much for the additional information. Yes. So definitely check out the link and save $250. The third question I have for Izzy is, what are the specific financial guarantee requirements in the application?
Yes, so that depends on your program as well. If you're in case applying for your undergraduate program per se, you would have to show 1 year's tuition. So in case of the undergrad program, it's $18,000, just over 18,000 plus your 1 year's living expense, which is estimated to 20,000. So in total, you would have to show, I believe, 38,000 for the undergraduate program. So basically your first year's tuition as well as your first year's living expenses. That should be on your bank statement.
And for the master and doctorate?
Yes, for the master's program, your tuition is 14,742 per year. So you would have to show 14,000 plus the 20,000. And then similar for doctorate, so the doctorate program is 16,326 per year. That including the 20,000.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's
So
very
I've added a link in the chat, which will basically take you to our tuitions page.
Mhm.
And you can see all the tuition fees listed in terms of credits, in terms of housing, living expense, how much it needs to show in your bank account, pretty clearly based on whatever format you choose to study.
Perfect. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Reema.
Yes. This will also be sent out to all the students who are listening right now or watching the recording right now. And next question is, does Westcliff University offer a tuition installment or payment plan? And what are the terms? Could you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yes, of course. So students have the option to either pay by semester or they can enroll in an installment plan, and which basically allows them to make monthly payments.
Yeah, is it like for the installment plan, is there any more information about it? Like, can you enroll in the first semester and how many terms, or is it monthly, or like things like details like that? If you could share a little bit more, that'll be great.
Yes, of course, you can enroll from your first semester as well. Basically, it would just be by the semester. So if you're enrolling in an installment plan, you would pay every month instead of for the whole 4 month semester.
Okay, perfect. And there will be no interest fee, or is there a processing fee or service fee?
We can share more details with you on that, Rachel. There is a little bit of a process because everything gets run through by the finance team. So there is a certain amount of money that students need to pay as an initial, I would say like a down payment or whatever it's called, like the first payment. There's a certain amount they need to pay, and then everything else gets divided. There is going to be a proper agreement that gets signed between Westcliff and the student in terms of the payment terms and all of those details. So it will completely depend on what program they're choosing, what session they're starting in, what the start date would look like, how many months they want to break it down into. So it's kind of individual. So that's broadly what it looks like. But yeah, you're able to customize it if you want to kind of pay per semester. You're able to do that. If you want to pay a bigger chunk in the beginning and then divide the amount further, you can do that as well. So it's customizable in terms of how the student wants to also kind of look into the payment plan.
I see. So it's more like a individual based amount. Thank
Correct.
you. And the last question I have for the tuition and fees related is as you've already mentioned before, could you tell us more about the scholarship opportunities at Westcliff University? Just a brief reiteration would be great.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Sorry, Reema, do you want?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so I can definitely drop a link for the scholarships page as well again. Just so students can check that out. But we have a bunch of scholarships. We have scholarships that students can apply for on the website. They can submit an essay, and they can choose all the scholarships that are available on our website, and apply for that.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
remember one thing, you can apply for scholarships throughout, even when you're enrolled. So it's constantly ongoing. There are 3 times of all of these scholarships get awarded. So it's like the number of, chances that you get is multiple, and a lot of our students get scholarships. So again, highly, highly recommend you make that application for scholarships.
Yeah, sure. Next we have academic program related questions. Would you like to would you like to continue with these questions, or do you want to jump in again, Reema?
No, sure, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
All good.
First question is, how many courses does a student have to take each semester, and what are the specific requirements for online and in-person classes?
Yeah, so the requirement for classes depends on the program type. So undergraduate students are required to take 15 credits per semester. Other active F1 undergraduates can take 12 credits. And graduate students have to take 6 credits per semester. But all active F1 students are required to take at least one on-site course per semester.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's very flexible, and we really appreciate the hybrid schedule that Westcliff can offer, especially for students who are living or busy with their work schedule.
Definitely. For students that are working full-time jobs, it's very flexible for them. So they can take most of their classes online, and they can fulfill their F1 requirement for taking one on-campus class per semester.
Mhm. Yeah, that's great. The next question we have is, what are the class format requirement for CPT eligibility?
Yes, so for the CPT eligibility, an additional 1 credit course has to be taken by the students, and basically they would complete assignments online that is related to the job or the internship that they're applying for. And it's basically like another additional credit hour class.
Mhm. And what happens if a student misses an in-person session due to travel or emergency?
Yes, we highly recommend that students don't miss their classes in the first place, but if it's a last minute emergency that they're not able to attend, they have to notify their student advisor as well as their professor that they will not be able to take it. And depending on the case, some students would be given another opportunity to take a makeup session for that class.
Hmm. Yeah, we definitely want students to like make plans in advance to avoid that.
Mhm.
And can students change programs or majors after enrollment?
Yes, so we also advise students to make a decision on what program they want to take as soon as they can, ideally before their semester start. But if they want to and they have been enrolled, they can change. They can notify their student advisor, and they can request a program change right before the semester starts.
Hmm.
One thing to keep in mind is that you can only change your program till the first year. After you've completed your first year, you're not able to add or change any programs in terms of even concentrations. So, what is highly recommended that you kind of finalize on the program as well as the concentration within like the first 6 to 8 months. And if you want to make any changes, it's pretty simple to do that initially. And then once you kind of cross that 1 year mark is when obviously you will not be able to make any changes. So just to keep that in mind.
Thank you for bringing up that detail. That's really helpful and important.
Mhm.
Um, and the last question I have for the academic related questions is, could you please explain about Westcliff's policy about taking a break after 3 consecutive semesters, and like how does it work and what are the conditions or limitations for the break?
Yes, so active F1 students are allowed to take a vacation time after 1 year of good education. They have to make sure that they keep up their GPA, they're in good standing with their academics, and they have the proper documentations to fly out. For example, if they're going back to their home countries, they have to notify their student advisor, their DSO, make sure that they get their I-20 stamp for travel authorization, and they can fly out or take a break after their first year, after 1 whole year of studying.
Mhm.
I will also drop a link for our handbook, which also explains in detail about our vacation policy as well.
Perfect, thank you.
Mhm.
And I have a question from the chat. Uh, so can you tell us a little bit more about DBA for professional format and stackable format?
Yes.
Great question. So the DBA professional format basically allows students to take all of their classes online, except they have to take 1 weekend classes per semester, which basically means they would come in person for a weekend class. So that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the rest of their classes will be 100% online. For the stackable format, which is a great format for students that want to earn their degrees, it would basically be broken down per year. So, for example, if a student completes their first year, they would be granted with their first year's certificate for their DBA, and then they can continue over. If they choose to stop at any time, they don't want to proceed with their degree, they still get a certificate for the amount of years that they completed their program.
Yeah.
So the other part to your question, Aditya, the fact that you already have your STEM EAD is expiring in Feb, and it's better to start the course in December, or you can join in January. Yeah, I would definitely recommend making sure you have your enrollment confirmed before your EAD expires. You don't want to be in the last, in a rushed space to complete that. So highly recommend that you enroll in a semester much before your EAD expires, so you're like, secured in terms of your program at least and your visa status. And like Izzy was saying, you can start off, and then if you complete your first year, you will get a certificate, and if you continue to do your DBA, then it's a 3-year program.
Yeah, thank you. I hope that answers the questions from the chat box. I
Mhm.
just have a little more questions from the list we have. And if anybody has any more questions, please feel free to post in the chat box and we'll get to that later. Next, we have the CPT related questions. I know we've already talked about that in detail in the presentation, but if we could briefly reiterate that, that'll be great. The first question we have is, could you briefly explain the CPT application process and the requirement documents?
Yes, of course. So you would have to fill out a CPT request form with your advisor. So you would have to provide your job offer letter, a proof of course enrollment that you have to enroll into for the CPT class. That's the 1 credit hour class. And then you have to show proof that your job that you're applying for is related to your program that you're currently studying for. So those are the main requirements for applying for a CPT.
Mhm.
Just one more thing to keep in mind is having the employer document signed. So there will be a document which is between Westcliff and your company that needs to be signed off, which will basically state that, you are a full-time student, but at the same time you're working, which is related to your job. So there is an agreement that will be shared with you, and you need to just get that signed as well.
Yeah, thank you, Rina and Izzy.
Mhm.
Next question is, how long does it usually take to get CPT approval after submitting the application?
It's a very quick process. It usually takes about a week to get your CPT approved. Just make sure that you're not missing the deadlines and you know when the deadlines are. Apply in advance, and it usually takes within a week to
Oh,
get it approved.
yeah, that's great. And when is the earliest date a student can begin using CPT? And does the stu university allow CPT pre-approval?
Yes, so for master students, I think Reema mentioned this before too. Master students can apply for a day one CPT as soon as they start their programs. Undergraduate students have to wait for 1 year before they can apply for their CPT. The next earliest available deadline for applying for CPT is fall semester session one, which is the July 21st, I believe. So it has already passed, if I'm not mistaken. The next one would begin spring, I believe. And
Hmm.
I can also share the calendar that Reema shared earlier, just so you have a better vision of the next deadline for CPT as well.
Hmm. Thank you.
Of course.
And what are the CPT renewal requirements? Do students have to reapply periodically?
Yes, it is a semester based. So each semester, when they have to apply for a CPT, they have to reapply with their updated job description. If they're changing their
Right.
jobs, they
Quick,
have to
quick
update. Yes.
quick thing on that, Izzy. So that we've kind of renewed the CPT policy very recently. So I just want to jump in on that. So they can actually, once they submit their CPT, it is valid for a whole year, unless they change the employer. Okay, so
Mm.
once you've made the application, if you have the same employer, you don't need to go in for a renewal every semester. We used to have that earlier. We don't have that now. So it's really convenient. Once you've done it for a whole year, you're okay. Unless, of course, you want to kind of change your employer. That's when you'll have to reapply and you'll have to resubmit documents and, your new offer letter and new cooperative agreement. But apart from that, you are set for a whole year.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, you only have to apply again if you have any changes that happen to your job or your internship.
Yeah.
Mm. Like you mean changes like if you change an employer or like for example if you didn't change an employer but you have like a you changed the position, you got promoted, do you need to renew that when
Yes.
okay.
Yes, you would still have
Absolutely.
to apply
Any
again.
change in your employment should be documented with USCIS. So whether it's a promotion, whether it's a demotion or a change of employer, anything, a number of hours even. So for example, you were doing full-time earlier and then you've now changed it to part-time. It's extremely important to update that data in the system. So because everything is counted in terms of your hours as well. So just keep that in mind that at any point there's any change in it, just make sure that you reach out to your international affairs advisor to update the information in the system.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. Uh,
Mhm.
and what are some important considerations when applying for CPT? What are the common reasons for CPT denial or rejected?
Yeah, so once you do contact your international affairs advisor for applying for a CPT, make sure that whatever documents you're submitting are 100% correct. They will provide you with a Google form usually for applying for the CPT. Make sure that the form's correct that you're filling out. There's different forms that list on it. So there's a change in CPT or a new CPT application. Make sure that you're applying for the correct one. Make sure all of the details are correct. So the company's address, the company's name, your role that you're applying for, all of those fields should be 100% correct to make sure that you're avoiding any denials in your CPT.
Mm-hmm. And next we have, can student continue to use CPT during academic breaks or holidays?
Yes, they can continue to work on their CPT while they're taking any breaks or vacation time off.
Okay, that's
But
good.
they would still have to take their CPT's online course. So make sure that you're still
Oh,
submitting your CPT's online required coursework.
yes, thank you for the reminder.
Mhm.
Uh, if a student travels abroad during the break, do they need to pause their CPT authorization?
No. There's no requirement for pausing your CPT. And there's no travel restrictions during your annual vacations. But you would have to get a travel endorsement by your international advisor just to make sure that you can travel and then return back to the US.
Um, yes, that's good to know. A lot of people have been asking me that. And can students switch CPT employer during the semester, and what is the procedure?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh, sorry. Can students switch like a change employer during the semester, and what will be the procedure? Is it the same as the renewal, or um, is it a different procedure as the renewal process or the application process?
Yes, it would be. It wouldn't be a renewal. You would basically have to submit a CPT application for a new updated CPT,
Mm.
basically a new employer then.
Okay.
And then you would have to provide your updated job offer letter for that new company.
Mm, that makes sense. And are there limitations on work hours while using CPT, like part-time, full-time?
Yes, so if you're applying for a CPT for full time, which is 40 hours a week, you can work on a CPT for 40 hours. However, that would affect your OPT eligibility. So you wouldn't be eligible for applying for an OPT if you work full time on your CPT. However, if you only work 20 hours a week, which is part time, on your CPT, you can still apply for your OPT. And depending on if it's a STEM OPT, you get 3 years of OPT. If it's a non-STEM program, you only get 1 year of OPT.
Mm. And then we know we can start the CPT at the beginning of the semester or on the first day of your semester, but can you start a CPT in the middle of the semester?
Yes, you can start a CPT middle of your semester, 30 days before the next session start date.
Okay. And can a student choose not to use CPT at all during their studies, or is it a
Yes, CPT is optional for most programs. I believe for the MBA, it is a requirement. So students are required to take 1 semester of CPT and do an internship as part of their coursework. For other programs, it is not a requirement, it's optional.
Okay, sounds good. And we have our last question. Thank you for sticking with me
Of
till
course.
now. Is there any additional CPT related courses when using CPT? If so, what is the minimum grade requirement for the CPT course? And what if the student's GPA falls below the 3.0 mark during their studies?
Yes, so students have to make sure that they have a 3.0 on their GPA in order to apply for CPT and work full-time or part-time on their CPTs. They also have to make sure that they pass their CPT credit hour coursework as well. Make sure you're submitting your assignments on time and fulfilling all of the requirements for the CPT. Students that are working that for their master's programs, the 3.0 is the requirement for CPT. For undergraduate students, it's 2.5 to 3 that's eligible for if you're only applying for a part-time CPT, you can apply for within a 2.5 to 3.0 GPA.
And for the CPT course, it's a pass and fail instead of a letter grade. So as long as you pass it, it'll be okay.
I believe it's a passing grade, yes.
Yes.
Yep,
It is
perfect.
measured exactly. So you'll have assignments, you will have papers. It's just that there's no class for it, but you will have assignments. So you will have to read up certain research papers. You will have to read up certain things and then kind of answer those questions or write papers. So
Mhm.
it will be like a regular course.